goes? I'm sorry I've been gone so long. My phone kinda got taken somewhere and I don't know where it was for a while. Well, I got it back and I'm back. So this is What If Issei. Now follow me on this one. Trained. Now you might be thinking, where's boosted gear? He doesn't need it. You might be thinking I'm crazy, but no, he trains like Cyroorg. It's like Cyroorg. And if you don't know who that is, then you're not an actual fan of the anime. And you will get the nope treatment. Well, put in perspective, Cyroorg is someone so strong that he's going to become a demon king, as in top guy. And Issei trains like this. He trains his body because he has nothing else. He trains his mind because he wants to be smart. And these little things they're supposed to ward off demons and evil spirits. And they do work. They're completely holy instruments. They're so pure that any demon would grab them, they'd be injured. Because they're made by Issei. And they're made with magic. Which means the only one who can use them is Issei himself. And they don't really just only work on demons, like demon, angel, anyone who like, if he puts this down around something, like he puts one on something, and someone he doesn't want messes with it, it will hurt them. Like a small hand burn if they're strong. Like, to put in perspective, if he put this on like a jar and Reese tried opening this jar with her bare hands, then it would burn her hands. And that would be a full, and even if the Demon King he tried doing it would like singe one of his fingers, but he wouldn't really care and he'd just open it. But like, that's just perspective. Like, if he put them around a building, like the way he like if he like put them, even invisible versions of them, in around a building, any normal people will get in, but anyone who isn't normal will kind of get like found. Like, it won't kill them. The way he has it is, these are tracking. The one he puts around the school is tracking. Any magical power that's more than the average. Any magical power he senses, it takes him to. And everyone has a little bit in them, even humans. So, while they can't use it, he senses like 1, 2, a little bit, no big deal. He senses the Occult Research Club and the Student Council. He knows how crazy powerful these Fookers are, but he doesn't want to do anything with that because he doesn't want to die. Because he can already tell their magic is way stronger than his. Sure, he keeps his hidden, but they weren't hiding theirs. Them not hiding theirs, because they didn't think they had everything to worry about. Whenever they felt a tiny little extra magic from this kid, they didn't think much of it. But when they found out what he had, they were surprised. The boosted gear. Issei has the use to it. He can use it for 5 boosts. It's not in its other stage because he doesn't know how to do that. He hasn't had it on long enough in one sitting for it to do that. He never has. He can't talk to Drake either because he hasn't worked enough on that. He's close, but not quite. So yeah, he uses primarily fire magic, which is basically launching small little fireballs at people, which doesn't do much. But if you ever wanted to, he could, like, go from, "Hi, I am Issei, muscular," to his regular everyday clothes, which is this. And yes, I use this version of Issei because I think it looks the best. And yes, I use fan art, don't judge me. So he is utterly beating down anyone who steps to him. Whether their power level is the ability to break a human spine, or the ability to blow up a planet. He's ready for a fight. And then he met Renair. He wasn't interested in dating, but something about her just caught him. So he agreed. And after a little bit, everything was going good. They went on their date, but then a little bit later in their date, when they're at the fountain, saying, "Would you die for me?" and then pulls out that light spear. Issei wasn't sure about this, but he kept a little bit of profile down. He had a magical one that was called a barrier. He caught this and blocked the attack. Well, he tried to anyway. It blew his arm off. And, well, it almost blew his arm off and sent his arm back. And stabbed him. He was injured, and he did one last thing. Detonation. A detonating one. And he threw it, and it stuck to her leg. she went to a portal and wound up getting her leg very badly messed up. This isn't a problem. Weird demon powers will basically heal them. Demon, fallen angel, and angel, I think all have the same kind of healing abilities for their own and everything, so I think this one will be fine. So yeah, Issei, looking like he's dead, barely, gets revived, and he said, I really shouldn't have let my guard down around her. I only threw one talisman to protect myself. And usually he carries about 30 on him, but he only brought one, and that was in case anything he could throw it at her, throw it to her so she'd be okay. The exploding talisman is just one he had on him that he forgot about, until he pulled it out of his pocket. But Rias kind of saved his life the same way, made him a demon, already sensing crazy magic power and the boosted gear. He's got the ability of the full 8 pawns. And to put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of 4 kings. You might be wondering why, because that is equating for anything the pawn can become. It's basically as if there were 8 queens. And even if you assumed that 8 queens made 4 king would be able to keep up with 4 of the king, that would still show that they could handle it. So Issei is that powerful. And that is at bare minimum. And he's easily able to throw one punch that could send anyone flying. Anyone. Issei completely walks around a fight. And when he met Riser, because they saw the whole training thing, but Issei already knows he fights demons every night to protect his city, so he's ready for anything. And he sees these fallen angels and everything. He sees all of the races as a threat, except for humans, as he knows he can handle them. He knows he has the boosted gear, and he knows his strength with it is oddly powerful. He did not know, when they told him to try turning it on, he turned it on easy and said, this thing? And they said, alright, now you have to hold that there for like 3 hours. Well, not 3 hours, like 10 minutes. And he said, you're kidding, right? I don't ever need this that long. Well, really, if you held it out for 10 minutes long, it would turn into its full form. And it would awaken. Really? Did not know that. Alright, fine, let's do that. So he does it. He has it awakened, and he's ready. And for 10 minutes, he has it, like, in his pocket, or in a hoodie or something to cover it. And boom, his full gear got shown. He thought it looked really cool, but then turned it off, turned it back on, turned it off, turned it back on. He showed that it was the new form of it. And he could barely hide this one in his hoodie, but easily could still if he used the Vanishment version of Vanishment Talisman on his arm. And anyone who wants to fight with him is ready for a fight, but not really. So yeah, whenever he met his fallen angels, he absolutely just stomped them out. Got the priestess girl and brought everyone back. She still died. Ria still revived her. And Issei is ready for anything he needs to deal with. And in this version, he's readier. Whenever he met Riser, first thing he did was yeet a kiss of flame at him. Same stuff happened between Riser, Phoenix, and Rias Grimry and all that stuff happened. Not a big deal. Whenever Issei heard what's going on, he threw a fireball at Riser, and Riser just said, boy, what is a flame to a phoenix? And he said, what is a phoenix to a dragon? Him saying, what do you mean, dragon? Boosted gear. And boom, dragon drive punch, which turned his one arm into the arm of a dragon, which is something he has perfected training with Drake this whole time. Dragon arm basically is something once he had unlocked the boosted gear, the full one, the regular one, he's already strong enough to where he can go into like 3rd, 4th form of it. He doesn't, and he could probably even go into boosted gear off the bat. Well, not boosted gear, probably like over booster, scale mail, not like the actual like balance breaker, but he could go into scale mail, which you might think that's the same thing, but no. Scale Mail is about half as useful and isn't really as good as Balance Breaker. It's the same kind of armor, but it's a lot, basically the weaker equivalent of the armor. And instead of just having it for 10 seconds by sacrificing an arm, he has it for like 3 hours, and he doesn't have to sacrifice it at anything. But he knows that he has to be able to hold this thing, but he can't yet. He still trains, and whenever he punches Riser in the mouth, blood splatters from Riser's mouth. Issei uses this blood to make a talisman real quick. And it was the Talisman of Immortality. The thing about this talisman is, yes, it is something he can do, but it took all the magic out of him. Like, all but like 1 drop. So when he stuck this thing on him, he had basically the equivalent of Riser's healing factor, but thing is, it'll only work for basically the equivalent of the Totem of Undying. If you know what Minecraft is, you know what that is. You die, it saves you. So yeah, if it would kill him once, it saves him. If it would kill him twice, it saves him. Basically, it blocks 1 massive attack that would kill him easily. And then, boom, it disappears. For this one, it'll burn away once it's used up. And because he used Riser's blood, it even took some of Riser's magic using it. So it'll actually be able to handle 2, sorry about that guys, 2 attacks from anyone, really. And Riser just said, "Oh, you think you tough, boy." And he threw 1 solid punch trying to kill Issei. And Issei was not having it. He caught the punch and just basically snapped his elbow. Snapping the arm of Riser wasn't very impressive, as Riser just healed up, saying, "That was impressive, no many can do that." But then he said, and then Issei wound up still getting that chick sent at him, and with him not actually being prepared for her, because he had just been fighting with Riser for about 2 whole minutes straight. That might not sound like a lot, but that's very impressive for any human to be able to fight for 2 minutes straight. And he's fighting a powerful demon for 2 minutes straight, bare-knuckle brawling this sucker. And this sucker heals, so it's just taking away Issei's stamina. So for basically 2 minutes straight, he's just throwing him punch after punch after punch, until he gets hit with a surprise shot to the back of the head, and then 1 to the stones. Yes, that's what it took to knock Issei down. And after this, he just stood back up, getting healed by Issei. And he said, "You think you tough, huh?" And he said, as he pulled out 3 more talismans of immortality. He stuck them all to himself, saying, "Let's go." Now, Issei basically burned through each and every one of these, and whenever it seemed like Issei and Riser were about to be, well, exhausted, while they were immortal with almost infinite stamina, and Issei had trained to be that powerful, they completely hit the floor with each other. They were laid out. And that's not just a joke, I mean they were completely laid out. They could not do jack. These 2 dudes passed out. And being that they're passed out, like I said, the Grapefia basically just knocked out both of them and said, "Whatever, heal your boy up, y'all have healing tears. So, if you don't want to marry him, then you must do a raiding game." And note, this is Issei before the training arc he's going to do. He doesn't have Dress Break, he doesn't have any of his powers yet, but he does have his physical abilities. So whenever he landed there at the area, he's still trained. He said, "I'm training with Drake too, because he's probably going to be able to teach me more than any of y'all." So he already has the dragon shot, he already has the dragon punch, he has the dragon fire, he has dragon fire breath, he has regular dragon fire. He's basically able to use almost every dragon type ability there can be. He even has Summon of the Flames, which is basically where he summons a dragon. But not just any dragon. This ability he has basically taught himself and created brings Drake out of the boosted gear, to where the boosted gear is just boost It'll boost every 10 seconds in a small boost kind of way. But it won't be the whole 10 times double multiplier every 10 seconds. It'll do a little bit different. It basically becomes the double multiplier gear. The one that he had to wait for time to get able to get the real gear. It'll basically double whatever he's at that point once. And bring Drake out whenever he uses that. Now this being a power is kind of useful and also kind of useless. Now this means that he can basically summon a dragon to fight with him. And with his physical capability and magic, he can keep up with Drake. Remember, it's only bringing a weaker version of Drake though, because it can't handle the full power of him. Like, if he fully used, 10 of them all over his body and then just magically burn them with the power, with the magical fire, it would bring Drake completely out. But it would also take all of Issei's magic and some, and use everything he had. He'd basically be killing himself to summon Drake once. But this would full Drake, and Drake would be back to his full power. The infinite dragon. The dragon of domination would be back. He basically could completely summon Drake if he wanted to. But not yet. Before the training, he can't. Right now, he can only summon Drake as in a small humanoid form that kind of resembles Issei. But with red shaggy hair and is covered in, battle scars. And occasionally, whenever he tries summoning him, his stronger version will summon. If he uses 2 summoning cards, he'll summon the boost. Drake will be in his Juggernaut. He can basically look like he's in Balance Breaker. So Issei has actually gone into Balance Breaker and used this, and he's gone in using Balance Breaker as well as Drake in a Balance Breaker looking form. And this is basically his sparring partner, Drake himself. He does the summon, spars with Drake, and once the summon's over, Drake gets put back because that's where he wants to go. He's basically got free reign to go in and out if he wants. But not fully in and out. Only most of the way in and out. As in, he can go in whenever he wants, but leaving is more of a whenever Issei brings another talisman out. And Issei this whole time has been writing talismans. He's made over 400 immortality talismans, which basically block all damage and everything for one huge hit that would kill you. It can tank one hit it would take all the power that would kill you, and then it'll break. It won't give you any of the pain that you felt. Now, fun fact about that power, it's kind of useful and useless. It doesn't strengthen your physical abilities or anything, it just makes it where you would survive what would usually just kill you. And you're still at full health after this thing breaks, so yeah. This meaning that Issei, while he trains with Drake, whenever he gets back, here's what happens. He has Dress Break. He trained with Asya for that one. He gets it. I'm giving it to him. He also unlocked a new form called Juggernaut Move, which Juggernaut Drive is basically what this is a variant of. Juggernaut Move basically means he is the Juggernaut for a split second. No weird chant or anything, it'll only just do one punch as the Juggernaut. That's all. And when he uses this, it'll basically annihilate whatever he hits, but also almost kill him. Now what I mean by almost kill him is, now when he does it, it basically stabs him in every single organ and almost puts him down. But not quite. You might be wondering, what do you mean not quite? I mean, it'll stab him in every one of his organs, but it won't kill him. Alright, so this meaning that when it won't kill him, it makes him stronger. So yeah, he's ready for this fight. And he throws the meanest way late. He basically walks up And Reese actually winds up choosing to do the same move she had planned, her way, and went to confront Riser on her own with Asya. But in this point, everyone's still alive. Well, they would be, but the Bomb Queen is there, Riser is there, and that little Phoenix girl is there. The Bomb Queen, and Phoenix are just sending themselves there and basically take out the only remaining threats, which is the legendary, as I'm not sure what it is, giant bomb, basically blowing up Konako, blowing up Kiba, and blowing up Konako, Kiba, and what is it? Akano. Sorry guys, I haven't watched it in a while, so yeah. With this sending them all out, Issei says, enough. Dragon's full wish, as he brought 9 out. He can use 10, which would completely summon Drake, and Drake can go back into the gauntlet whenever he wants. But whenever he let this full version of Drake out, he does it in an instant. Juggernaut move. And then full release Drake, sending both him in a Juggernaut-looking Drake form for 1 punch, and the actual Drake with 1 punch. Issei basically ripped this dude's face off. Drake basically roared and tackled him, sending him through under a mountain, and then basically sending him in the earth. Him going back into Issei. Issei saying full power. After 100 boosts, Dragon Shot. Riser gets back up saying, that was all you had, kid, and blasts Riser. You might be thinking Riser wouldn't be able to survive from this. You would be right. Riser should not be able to survive from this. In this version, it's because he wound up grabbing he was able to grab one of Issei's immortality things, because this should have killed him. He grabbed this single talisman, put it on his chest, and blocked the power that Issei used on him. While it should have killed him, it didn't, just barely. And he said, oh, you stole one of my talismans? Yes, I did. As he just keeps as he just starts wailing on Issei, as Issei's kind of out of the picture at this point. He's out of energy. So Issei said, fine, and hit him in the mouth. But then, boom, a fire hole blasted in Issei's chest. Rias giving up as Issei hit the floor. Issei saying, I'll make you a deal, Drake. Take one arm and turn it into a dragon arm. While Issei said that, his right arm was turned into a dragon's arm. Turned the arm of the dragon. And now holy weapons do not work on him. They don't do jack. So whenever he walks up into this fight, he walks up like nothing's different, as he was using a hidden totem basically to save himself from being shown that he has the boosted gear as his own, as he took it off, basically burning it away in the battle when he sees up to Riser on his own. He dropped all his cards and just started wailing on Riser. He goes into the Juggernaut. He goes into the full-powered form. Sorry about that, guys, but yeah. He goes into full-powered form and just starts beating the crap out of everything Riser stands for. In the end, Riser's covered in holy water, a cross burn, and he is just laying there, almost dead. It took his sister jumping in the way, and Issei said, move or you're next. Move or it'll hit you too. As he said, holy dragon shot. But the place was going down. Riser wound up getting pulled out of the way, and Issei wound up flying out of there. They left, but then they made it all the way home. And the rest of the series, Issei just basically is overpowering through everything. Kokobeel, he beat the crap out of Kokobeel. the White Dragon Emperor, he basically hit with one of the meanest RKOs to hit through a table. And then when he tried getting back up, he was hit with the meanest AA. And then just straight up tombstone piledriver clean into the earth. Injured, he still took off. So next day, he talks all this big game like he's the guy, he's the one that's gonna square up with everybody, and then it didn't work. He talked all that big game, but then Issei straight up just bulldozed and tackled the dude. Like a running back, and straight up just ran him over. Whenever they go to in the final fight against Cyberorg, then Issei just straight up just wins that one. While Cyberorg did put the armor on, it didn't really work, as Issei just released his ultimate trump card, the Dragon of Domination. He just let Drake out at that point, and did not give a shit. He released Drake, and Drake started beating the fuck out of Cyberorg. Issei wound up having to pull Drake back. And Issei is easily able to handle anything he wants. No powers, just him. So while he had just completely obliterated the entirety of everyone, he became the king of hell. He is the literal last guy you would mess with. That is it. Goodbye, guys.